The life of a ninja isn't always as pleasant as we might think. Imagine living in a world full of war and intrigue, where many ninjas must endure a life filled with sorrow and tragedy. They're not just facing tough enemies, but also the harsh, invisible realities of life. Some lose their closest loved ones, others are forced into inhuman missions, and some carry a mental burden that never goes away. In this video, we're going to discuss the ninjas with the darkest futures, or you could say, the ones who suffered the most. So, who are they? Let's dive in. Gaara is one of the most tragic characters in Naruto. If we compare, his fate is similar to Sasuke, but more painful, more bitter, more heartbreaking. Imagine becoming Kazekage at a young age to replace your father, who died because of Orochimaru's actions. It's brutal. But Gaara's suffering started long before his father died. Since he was a child, he was forced to become a living weapon for the village of Sunagakure. His father, who happened to be the Kazekage, wasn't exactly a loving dad. In fact, he generously made his son the Jinchuriki with the Biju seal inside him. The result? Gaara became a boy hated by the entire village, labeled a monster, with no friends, no love. What's even more tragic is that during the sealing process, his mother died. Instead of showing any affection, his father grew more ruthless, even testing his son's strength by ordering people to try to kill him. Gaara literally lived in constant danger 24/7. The worst of it came when Yashimaru, the one person he thought cared for him, was sent to kill him. Gaara was able to fight off Yashimaru thanks to the power of Shukaku inside him. But when he realized that the person he trusted most was the one who died, Gaara was crushed. Gaara's life could have stayed on that dark track if he hadn't met Naruto. Naruto's talk no jutsu worked wonders, making Gaara, who had lost all faith in life, realize things and slowly rise again. It's no wonder Gaara went from a lonely monster to a respected Kazekage. But still, when he thinks about his past, it's heartbreaking. Kakashi Hatake is another tragic character in Naruto. Although he's known as the cool teacher of Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, or the student of Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, his life has never been far from suffering. Kakashi's bitter story starts with his family. We know his father, Sakumo Hatake, was the White Fang of Konoha, highly respected, but his life ended tragically. After failing a mission because he chose to save his comrades over completing the task, Sakumo was vilified by his own village, leading him to commit suicide. Kakashi, still a child at the time, was instantly changed, cold, indifferent, and obsessed with rules and missions. Shortly after losing his father, Kakashi also had to swallow the bitter pill of losing his closest friend, Obito Uchiha. During a dangerous mission, Obito was crushed by a large boulder and half of his body was destroyed. Before dying, Obito gave Kakashi his Sharingan as a gift and entrusted him with the task of protecting Rin Nohara. Imagine the mental burden this put on young Kakashi. But the tragedy didn't end there. The most heartbreaking moment came when Kakashi had to kill Rin with his own hands. During their next mission, they were surrounded by enemies, and Rin, realizing she was being used as a tool to summon the three-tailed beast to destroy Konoha, chose to sacrifice herself. She jumped into Kakashi's Raikiri, forcing him to kill her. How can you not be traumatized by that? Losing a good friend, failing to protect someone entrusted to him by his friend, and losing his family. Itachi Uchiha, the Konoha genius, had achievements that anyone would admire, graduating from the academy in a year, becoming a Chunin at age 10, and even becoming the youngest leader of the Anbu at age 13. It all seemed perfect, right? But behind it all, Itachi's life was truly tragic. It all started with a coup planned by the Uchiha clan itself. Who was behind it? His father, who was also the head of the clan. Itachi, who was in the Anbu at the time, became a witness and couldn't stay silent. He reported it to the Hokage and village leaders. This is where his life changed completely. Itachi was given two bitter choices: join the clan and fight the village, or stop the coup himself. And Itachi, with his high spirit of Konoha, chose the second path. To prevent a great war, he had to slaughter his entire clan, including his own family. The only exception? Sasuke, his younger brother, was spared. Imagine making such a decision at such a young age. It's bitter, painful, yet also commands respect. But wait, Itachi's sorrow doesn't end there. Before the massacre, Itachi was also accused of killing his best friend, Uchiha Shisui. In reality, Shisui had committed suicide after his plan to prevent the coup failed. This accusation pushed Itachi further into despair. After all the chaos, Itachi was allowed to leave the village by the Hokage. As a result, he had to join Akatsuki, a terrorist group, and live as a fugitive ninja. It can be said that Itachi sacrificed everything, his family, his reputation, even his happiness, just to protect Konoha and his brother. Obito Uchiha is a real example of a character who got relentlessly battered by fate. Although born into the talented Uchiha clan, Obito was actually just average and often outshined by his genius rival, Kakashi. His life was already hard from the start, his parents were never shown, and he only lived with his grandmother. Obito's misfortune began when he was crushed by a boulder during a mission with Kakashi and Rin. Half of his body was shattered, and in his dying moments he still had a big heart, giving his Sharingan to Kakashi. Obito thought his life would end there, but then, plot twist, he was saved by Madara Uchiha, who started poisoning his mind with wild plans. Obito was given a portable body thanks to Zetsu's white half. Even before fully recovering, Obito had to witness Rin Nohara, the girl he secretly loved, die at Kakashi's hands, his own friend. He had trusted Kakashi to protect Rin. Imagine the pain of being betrayed even though it wasn't entirely Kakashi's fault. That misunderstanding haunted Obito, pushing him deeper into despair. His pain and frustration made him an easy target for Madara's manipulation, who was using him as a pawn in his grand plan to revive Mugen Tsukuyomi. Ironically, Obito didn't realize that he himself was a pawn in Zetsu's larger game to revive Kaguya and trigger the Fourth Shinobi World War. So behind the mask of Tobi, who loves to joke and laugh, Obito was actually a man played by fate, filled with revenge, lost love, and ultimately used to the fullest. When we talk about the most underrated character and her quiet but deep suffering, Tenton is the #1 candidate in Naruto. From the start, Tenton had an unclear fate, no memorable backstory. Where was she born? Which clan is she from? Who are her parents? No one knows. What we know is that Tenton just appeared and was ready to carry weapons like a ninja supermarket. Not to mention her last name was never revealed. Seriously, this makes her feel like an NPC in a game, but unfortunately, she's not the NPC with an important mission, more like the one hanging around in the background. Her signature technique? Using ninja weapons? But honestly, any shinobi can use ninja weapons. In the story, what does Tenton contribute? Nothing. There's no epic moment where her actions change the course of events. She appears in a few scenes but never really has a major impact. Even when she pivoted to become a ninja weapon businesswoman in the Boruto era, her products don't seem to sell. It's like her fate is like a startup that never gets funding, just staying stagnant. When it comes to her teammates, Tenton was always overshadowed by Rock Lee and Neji. Furthermore, while her teammates have families and descendants, Tenton remains alone. It's sad, but that's Tenton's reality. Although, if you look closely, Tenton was quite close to Neji Hyuga. Their chemistry was pretty sweet, they often trained together, and they seemed to be a good match. But as usual, Kishimoto loves those painful plot twists, and Neji had to die in the Fourth Shinobi World War. And those are the ninjas who can be said to have suffered the most during their lives. Who do you think is the ninja who suffered the most throughout the Naruto anime?